Call this meeting to order. All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. There is one change to the agenda, and that would be 7G. There would be radios for the fire department. Unless there's any questions, can we get a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Open forum. If there was anybody that would like to speak at the open forum, this is the time. Okay, I would be right up here, and just introduce yourself, please. In open forum, we give everybody 3 minutes to speak.
Mary Kay Hooney, and I'm from St. Joseph. I understand you're renewing your comp plan, and in the statute 473859 comprehensive plan content, it says comprehensive plan shall contain objectives, policies, standards, and programs to provide, to guide public and private land use. So within that, there's also a statute that says Minnesota Statute 462, 3535 subdivision 2. Talks about the community-based planning. A municipality that prepares a community-based comprehensive plan, municipal plan, shall coordinate its plan with the county. When you renew your plan, it's going to be, your renewing of the comp plan will be forced to follow Stearns County's comp plan. Now the comp plan is no longer going to be a local, it's not going to be with your local community. It'll be, Stearns County comp plan will then now be county, state, and federal will regulate your plans. It's just not going to be local. I highly recommend that you reconsider. I realize you've already probably put a lot of money into it, but it will then become an international plan, and it follows the United Nations agenda. And if you look at comp plans, like this is St. Joseph's comp plan, yours will look exactly the same. They're all the same. And they will put the United Nations goals in those comp plans. And so when you develop, it's not, all your trails and your parks. It all looks nice, and I'm not saying you can't do that, but when you do it within the comp plan, there's all these regulations that you have to follow. So I just want to say, like, sustainability is just not, it's like what's the word I'm looking for? They're all the same. All these comp plans are exactly the same. And like, if you look at your United goals, one of them is here, goal number 3, ensure healthy lives, promote well-being, vaccines for all. That's what's in there. So if you take a look at that, I strongly advise you want to update your comp plan. I would suggest highly that you take all the sustainability out of there. Otherwise, you're going to be following the United Nations Sustainable Goals. And that is within all these comp plans, are all the same. Thank you very much.
Right, thank you. Usually we don't comment on.
Yep,
Yeah.
got it.
Thanks,
But
Mary
it would
Kay.
be nice to know a little bit, Sheila, if there's any validity. Okay, thank you. That would be good. Is there anybody else that would like to speak at the open forum? Okay.
All right, we're on the consent agenda now. Approval of the minutes, approval of bills and purchase orders. There's approval of the investments, a gambling resolution. There's also resolution for a donation, resolution number 2024-45, a donation in amount of $1,500 from the Melrose Lions to the Melrose Area Chamber of Commerce for our holiday kickoff, which I'm excited for this year. Then there is a couple pay apps for the 2024 Main Street improvement projects from Molitor. There's Highland Boulevard Extension, Northern Lions Contracting. Then there's one for transport nurse hire and an EMT hire, which is exciting for the Melrose Ambulance Department. It's nice to see that they're keep going and serving our community in a great way. So can I get approval to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. It is 6:06, and we are at a public hearing, alley vacation of Block 9 of the HJS Camp Edition. So, we can,
Colleen, I do have a picture on the next slide.
I was wondering that.
The city council tonight is holding a public hearing to consider the vacation of a dedicated alleyway that runs northerly and southerly in Block 9 of H.J. Haskap's addition. The alley is located easterly of and adjacent to lots 13 through 24 and westerly of and adjacent to lots 1 through 12 of Block 9. Publication of the public hearing notice occurred in the Star Post on Wednesdays, October 2nd and 9th. In your packets was the affidavit of mailing and posting of the notice, as well as the notice that was mailed to property owners within 350 feet of the alley. I believe some of the neighbors are here today for the public hearing. So this alley is located on the northwest side of town. The block to the north of it, the alley has already been vacated. This alley has just been there. There is no plans at this time to put an alley in. I did talk to a couple neighbors on the north. It's kind of got a hill that comes down. It's very treed. We're just not seeing a need for this alley at any point in the future. And so tonight we're bringing forth a request to vacate the alley. Then at that point, the neighbors on either side would divide that alley, and it would be attached to their property.
okay. All right, it is 6:07. Does anybody want to comment if you're from up there? Would you like to give your input? If you would like to come up here, they, all right. And just for the record, can you just state your address for us?
644 North 4th Avenue, Northwest. It said north twice, I apologize. I guess my question is, it's up for vacation because the city decided that it'd be too hard to put one in? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, we just don't see a need for it.
Okay. I guess my question is, it's been like this for years. Why do it? I mean, I grant you there's never going to be an alley put in there. But, like I said, it's been like that for years.
Okay.
That's my only question. Is why now does it have to be done? So if you don't,
Yeah, no, and I guess we can ask these questions is,
I can describe further. So what happened after the tornado, when the tornado came through, there was a bunch of tree damage. And the question became, for those trees that were in the alleyway, was it the city's job to clean out those trees, even though there wasn't an alley there, but it's a proposed alley in the future? And so at that point, we just looked at it a little closer and decided, well, we're never gonna put an alley there. And so to eliminate these questions after storm damage, we'll just vacate the alley.
okay. You answered my question.
Okay.
Thank you.
would it be a good thing though to vacate it then?
We've always cut the grass. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's been like that forever,
Yeah,
You're already taken
you
care
know?
yeah, if you're already taking care of it, might as well let you have it, right? You know, either that or if we have to maintain it, then, you know, then we'd probably have to cut the trees down if we're gonna be going in and out, because then if we're rooting it up, then we have to fix the rooting, you know, so
And
Is it
we
just-
did, after the last tornado, we did go in and cut the trees because it was a vacated alley. So, and in the past, when there've been tornadoes, we've done the same thing. So to eliminate that for storms in the future, we just thought, we'll just vacate the alley.
Yeah. Yeah, either that, or if we have to keep it, then we'd have to probably just cut trees so we don't have to drive down there ever again, right? So,
Just a quick question on that. So it's alley for roadway only, correct?
It really would be, I think, a path, you know,
Okay.
like,
We don't have any need, I mean, we have all the utility access we need
we have all the utility
without
access.
that.
We have checked, there are no utilities that run on that line.
Okay, good.
It's one of the original
yeah,
plats in
no,
town.
I didn't see, you know, Harvick didn't have nothing in there, I didn't see nothing in there for utilities, so.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Does anybody else have any questions? Sure, come on up. And if you can just state your name and your address up there.
My name is Keely Klein. I don't live here, but I work for the property manager of 615 3rd Avenue Northwest. He had a few questions that he sent for me to ask. Will property marks be moved if it is taken away that way?
All depends.
Will the property markers be moved?
Yes.
No, there'll just be a notation on the legal description that you're now entitled to half of the vacated alley.
Okay. Who will pay for that? Never mind, I can't read that. When will the alleyway be dissolved and transferred to property taxes?
As soon as the hearing is over, the council will sign a resolution, and then I'll file a notice of completion with the county. So by the time the county catches up, I don't think it'll be on the property taxes next year, because those statements, I think, have already come out, so it'll be the year after.
Okay. And will there be any type of erasement section that was supposed to be in the road? Easement?
Oh, easement.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we have checked, there are no easements that run north and south. There is, you'll see, there's one that runs way on this end, that one will remain, but nothing behind 615. There's no easements back there.
Alright, thank you.
Mr. Schulzenberg, do you have any questions?
Alan Schulzenberg, 628 Fourth Avenue Northwest. I was just pretty much wondering about the transfer of the property markers, titles, et cetera. How much is that going to, I mean, it might be very little, but is it going to affect our property taxes, raise them up a little bit? And I think that right now, as we mentioned, that tornadoes and stuff, there's a lot of trees on the south end there, that the city did take care of that, so now you're transferring it on to the property owners there. I understand that it doesn't have a whole lot of value to you, but, it does put more responsibility on the property owners. And would that possibly be like the trees and stuff that are in there right now? Could they possibly be taken out by the city? I know that a few years back, one of the trees fell on one of my neighbor's fences, and he had to get the city to basically pay for that. Now, if the trees are still there, and we get that, and one of the trees on my property falls onto his fence, I'm gonna have to pay for it, correct? Okay. So the, say, when
No.
we sell the property, how is that gonna work with the county? You said you're gonna transfer are we going to need like a new abstract title thing?
It'll just be noted, when they do a property search, they'll note that there was a notice of completion, that the alley was vacated.
Back to if a tree falls over the property line. I'm pretty sure you are not liable if a tree falls over your property line onto the neighbors. You're not liable for damage on their property.
But they'll get mad at me.
They might be mad at you, but I'm pretty sure the law states pretty clearly acts of God are not, your liability as far as trees go, so, yeah.
Okay, all right.
All right. It is 6:15. Is anybody else would like to speak? All right. We will discuss this matter after the reports and make actions. So it is 6:15, so we'll close the public hearing. On to reports. Chief Mouse?
Good evening. Our monthly statistics in September 2024 traffic area, 19 citations were issued, 94 verbal warnings, and 10 written warnings. Of those 10 written warnings, eight of them were related directly for parking, longer than 24 hours. There was somebody taking care of a parking lot, did not notify several people in the area as well as our department that they were going to be doing that and being there for an extended period of time. There were written warnings. We did talk with the owner of the vehicle, and they got them taken care of pretty quick. So it was okay to see, but we'd just like a heads up when some of those things happen, and in the future they said that they'd take care of it. So we're okay there. September 2024, we had 317 calls requests for service. Last year's 180. The end of 2023, we ended on ICR number 2147. This year was 2532. So 385 calls ahead of last year. So those numbers continue to creep up each month. Enough going on in the department, so it's good to see that we're busy, but sometimes you wonder how you keep up. But anyway, we had 18 agency assists. That number's been kind of hanging at that top side of the teens, which is okay. Some other areas of note, training is coming to an end for Officer Root. We should be seeing him not only in his own car, but on his own shift shortly. He has been driving a separate vehicle from the training officers in the last month or so, and they've been backing him up on calls. So I'd say in the next week or two, our schedule will modify to somewhat a full schedule, but we still do need an officer, which we'll be doing a hiring or a posting for in the next week or so here. Colleen and I have discussed, as well as HR, just the timing of it all to make sure we're not training two at one time. It's too difficult for a department our size. So we'll be looking for applicants coming in the next few weeks. And hopefully we can fill it.
Okay.
Any questions?
Oh, looks good.
Thanks, Chief. City Attorney report, Mr. Scott.
The good news is that work on developing and redeveloping the properties here in town continues. You can see in my report that in the past month, we've been working on getting development agreements together. I won't go into a lot of details on any of them here, because I think there's more on both of those projects later in the agenda. Any other questions that the council might have? Otherwise, that's all I've got for you.
Thank you, Scott. City Attorney report is done, so we're on community development. Sheila.
So we completed the third quarter, and building permits to date are 28.9 million. At the end of last year, we were wondering if we were going to be able to surpass last year, which was the second highest ever. Well, we have. Last year was 27.1, so now we are now the second highest ever, with last year being bumped to third place. The Planning and Zoning Commission discussed murals at the September 30th meeting. They are proposing the development of a zoning ordinance with some of the following: no murals facing Main Street, no murals in residential neighborhoods, and a required conditional use permit process for all other proposed murals that would include conditions about maintaining it, painting over it when faded, and a restriction on words, and a process for review of the proposed mural to ensure it is reflective of the Melrose community and/or its history. They're willing to take this up, and so that's where we're going to go with that. During the process, then, Planning and Zoning could determine if the height is acceptable. For example, we had some concerns about the second-story murals. And the MATA group at its October 10th meeting decided this was a good idea too. And so they have lended their support to a potential ordinance change regarding murals. So we are going to be working with Attorney Demick to develop this ordinance, as well as the ordinances we discussed in the work session prior to this meeting on cannabis and vacant buildings. So we have lots of ordinance work to do over the winter. In regard to the comprehensive plan, the steering committee is starting to work on drafts of the chapters. Right now, the only thing we have are the intro chapters, you know, the background on the community. We are going to start digging into the other chapters in the months to come. We hope to bring this to completion in early 2025. We will be giving the public time to review the chapters and comment on them. We also do have to give the county time to read it and comment, but not necessarily give their approval. They just have to comment and see if they have any concerns. Before we began this process, Colleen and I had a good conversation with our consultant and said, just to have you know, we're not going to be your normal city. We're going to be very involved in the drafting of our comprehensive plan to make sure it's good for Melrose. And we have had some of those hard conversations with him already in terms of making sure that it's practical for our city and reflective of our city. And we are going to continue to have those conversations. We also welcome the public comment when it's time to review those chapters to see if there is anything concerning in there. There is not a sustainability chapter in the comprehensive plan, but we also welcome, you know, everyone to read it carefully and see if they have any concerns as the chapters are released. And that's what I have.
As a staff issue.
Yeah, you gonna give the engineering report?
So Dave could not make it tonight. So in regard to our streets, Main Street opened today. Yesterday it was striped by the county, and today the county came back and put in the stop signs and the trail signs and the speed limit signs, which were important because we really didn't want to open Main Street until those things were back in place. Temporary seeding also occurred today. In the spring, they're going to be bringing in some better topsoil and reseeding and also doing the wear course. So there'll be a final course of pavement in the spring. The barricades have been pushed off to the side, but they will be getting picked up by Superior Sign in the next couple of days. And we appreciate everyone's patience for this project. We know it went a little longer than people wanted, but it does look really nice out there now that it's open. Up on Highlands, the curb and gutter went in the last couple days. They are doing some backfill and some soils tomorrow, and there will be a first course of pavement placed in Highlands on Monday. And I think everything is pretty much wrapped up over by the bowling alley. So what's going to happen in the next few days is the SEH inspector and Andrew from our streets department is going to walk through and start doing a punch list on the things that need to be done for spring and the things that are left open. And that was Dave's report.
So you said they are bringing in like different black dirt
Yes.
in the spring? Yeah. And I hope that people on Main Street that have had problems, because I had some serious issues over by my place, that they please contact us as soon as possible. If something happened to their yard, like with their sprinkler systems, if there's something out of ordinary. Because I hope that's gonna be warranted in the spring, so when people turn their sprinklers on, that, you know, if there's pipes that are busted, that it will be addressed. Is that correct?
Yes, and if they had plants disturbed, we're going to work on putting the plants back and do all those things in the spring.
Okay, just so everybody knows.
Paper, stones,
Yep.
decorative landscaping, all that will be best in the spring.
Yep, and it's best to wait till spring, because stuff will settle through the winter, so. All right, Colleen?
So I have been coming to you guys for the last several months saying that we have openings, and I'm actually very excited to be able to report that it looks like we have at least one position that we're going to be filling, and that's a part-time street maintenance position that we have extended an offer, and it's later on the agenda. We also, in the electric department, have extended an offer to a journey line person. So if that person accepts it, then we will have our journey line crew. However, we are still struggling to find a supervisor. So that's still out there for a supervisor for that department. As Craig had mentioned, we are, looking to hire or go out to advertise for another police officer as well. Union negotiations. We've met several times with both LELS and AFSCME. LELS, we're there pretty much. We've settled that one. However, AFSCME, we have not. So there'll be continued discussions with both the council and the PUC regarding union negotiations. Budgets, Tessa was able to come in today and work through some of the budget stuff so that we're ready for the workshop that we will be having at the November regular council meeting. Councilmember Jolene and myself met with Jen Tashida, president of CentraCare Melrose, and Vicki Herkenoff, who is the chair of the Melrose Community Advisory Board, to discuss the relationship between CentraCare and the city. Jen provided us with some information that is out in the community, that there is an adversarial relationship between the city and CentraCare. I believe this perception, and this is what we talked about, was based on changes that CentraCare has made regarding policies that impact our ambulance department. I felt it was a very good meeting, and we outlined sort of a strategy moving forward. And so originally Jen was gonna come to the November council meeting, but after kind of looking at that again, it might make more sense for her to come to meet with the council and any of the corps that would like to come, or even, you know, the fire department or whatever, whoever would like to come in more of a work session. So then the council is able to ask, you know, the questions that they want to be able to ask of CentraCare, that type of thing. So we're potentially looking at that date for December, is what we're thinking. So as far as the public utility side of things, work continues at the wastewater treatment facility to resolve issues in the pre-treatment building. Well number 7, just so you are aware, has been turned off. It is out of service. We were getting several complaints from residents regarding their water because it was cavitated. They were getting foamy, I guess would be the best way to describe it, water. It obviously would go away, but it just simply has outlived its useful life. So we're looking at what our options are, and right now we are gonna have to be looking at replacing that well. The PUC at their last meeting adopted the water and wastewater rate recommendations as proposed by SCH. In 2025, water rates will not increase. Wastewater rates will see a slight increase, between 2 and 3% depending on the rate class. Along those same lines, we will not be seeing any increases on the electric side in 25. As far as SIU agreements go, we had the opportunity to meet with our big 3 industries, GNAO, Land O'Lakes, and ProLiant, to discuss changes to their SIU agreements, which stands for significant industrial uses, or their wastewater treatment agreements with the city. So we talked about the agreements and some of the changes that had to take place because of the NPDES permit that we have. And in addition, we talked about lab testing. So one of the things that is happening now is lab testing is happening by an EPA certified lab, third-party testing for those industries. The meetings went very well. I thought we were able to compromise with the SIU, or with the industries on a couple things, and I just think they were very well received. And you know, we continue to have a very good relationship with those 3 industries. So that's what I would say about that. So that's all I have for now, and then I have a couple things later on in the agenda.
All right. We are on the action items. A is the alley vacation resolution number 2024-46, resolution vacating an alley. Any final words?
Yep, so earlier this evening, the council held the public session on the vacation of the alley in Block 9 of H.J. Haskamp's edition. The proposed resolution was in your packet vacating the alley, and if approved, staff will record the necessary documentation with the Stearns County Recorder to vacate that alley. So the action tonight is council to provide consideration to amend or adopt the resolution.
Is there any questions?
Was there any other concerns besides who came to the council meeting today?
No, I had talked to Carl earlier on it, and really a lot of these concerns came from Mr. Bulgard after the tornado, so most of them, yeah, no one had any issues.
Okay.
We did have some people way 350 feet away asking why they got, you know, a copy of it, you know, because they're not directly related, because it's, but they were within 350 feet.
They have to be notified.
One question came to mind. Did any of them express that they are using that alley at all?
No.
Because obviously if it's plotted as an alleyway, they have a right to go down that alley, right? Whether it's grass or gravel or whatever, they can drive
Yep.
down there. So nobody's using it to access their backyards or anything.
No one is using the alley. There's no garages set up in the alley, you know, like we have in other parts of town where
Right.
people have back alleys that they're accessing. There is none of that in this area.
Okay,
There's primarily trees,
all right.
and there is some garden or playground equipment is really the only
Okay.
thing that's in there.
And I didn't see any tracks up there
No.
either, so nobody's driving on it.
Yeah, that was only my only concern, because normally when we vacate an alley, whoops, it's from a request,
Mhm.
is why we vacate alleys. Now the city's taking the lead on vacating this one, so.
Yeah.
Just wanna make sure we're not making anybody mad up there, so.
That's fair enough. All right, can I get a motion to approve and adopt the resolution?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion is carried. Roach Development Agreement Resolution Number 2024-47, resolution authorizing the sale of lots in Railroad West.
Yes, at the council's June 20th meeting, the city entered into a purchase agreement with Roach Development for lots 1 through 25 of Block 2, Railroad West. The purchase price is $160,000. The developer will also be responsible for the special assessments from the Railroad Avenue Road project. Roach Development will be constructing a 34-unit, 17-building townhome project. At the September council meeting, the council held a public hearing and approved the TIF district for Roach Development. Attorney Scott Demick has prepared a development agreement, which he referred to earlier, to be executed at the closing. The closing is planned for mid to late November. Mr. Matt Roach is here tonight to talk to you about the project and answer any questions you have as we go to approve the development agreement and authorize the mayor and clerk to sign the closing documents in case you have any questions for them. So I invite Matt to come on up.
Hello, everybody. I don't really have a prepared presentation. Most people know that we already have some units nearby in town. This is similar, same owners, same operators as what we've done previously. So, other than that, any questions I'd be happy to answer.
You're planning to build in 26?
It's, yeah, not this coming summer, the next, correct.
Was there any plans, maybe, I had one person ask me a question, was there any plans maybe putting up some playground equipment out there or anything, or?
No, we generally don't include playground equipment, mainly because our tenants are an 80% retiree. And not that we're against children, it's just not, doesn't get utilized because the tenant mix is an older crowd.
Like I said, I've seen a lot of your properties. They're always very well maintained, very well cared for. Seems like both your facilities and Melrose, your people who are helping you out with maintenance, it's always getting done. So I
Thank you.
appreciate what you do for our
Try
community.
and run a clean operation.
And you have pretty sizable waiting lists right now?
We do, you know, not just the Melrose ones, but all the central Minnesota facilities. We've got, you know, very low vacancy rate. And again, that's, you know, not just us. It's housing's tight, as everybody knows.
No, I understand. I don't have anything. So thank you.
No problem.
Appreciate it. All right, there's actually two action items for this. The first action item is to provide consideration to the development agreement. Can I get a motion to approve? Okay, there's a first and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. And then the second one is to, the council provide consideration to amend or adopt the resolution. Can I get a motion to approve?
So move.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
And to address your question, Joe, about the park, the city is planning to put a park right next door. And the park board does have as its goal and mission to get the park in place at about the same time Matt is going to be developing. And that was a goal of the park board.
Okay.
Yep.
That was interesting to me, so I said that.
Well, it's nice because honestly, you know, there is elderly people that live there, and like my mother-in-law lived there, and my kids
would have played on the playground, you know,
If there was one,
grandkids, you know, if there's one there, so that was a good question,
Yeah.
so.
That was actually that just moved in 20 other ones over on off of 8th Avenue, so that was just a
Yeah.
question I thought I better ask, so.
And
Yeah.
it's more of, just as a general rule, we don't have them at any of our facilities, and that's kind of the reason why we don't. Again, not that we're
No.
against it, it's just one thing we don't put on the list.
Right,
But maybe in the future,
yeah,
No,
you'll have to keep an eye on how this one
we'll
works,
see what happens next door.
yeah,
Yeah.
mhm,
That sounds
Yeah.
good.
yeah.
The park board just decided is a responsibility when you're putting in 34 units and there's 100 units of apartments next door, that a park is a good idea in that west end.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's
Yeah.
great. All right, well,
Thank
that
you.
is good. All right, we are on action item C, final plat for KL plat number 1.
Yes, at your July 29th meeting, the Planning and Zoning Commission approved the preliminary plat for KL Plat Number 1, presented by KL Properties. It was approved by the City Council on August 15th. Since then, the plat has been submitted to Stearns County for its approval. The conditions established by the commission and approved by the City Council have been completed. The Planning and Zoning Commission recommended final approval at its September 30th meeting. And so there are just some minor revisions from Stearns County. So we would like you to approve the final plat subject to those minor revisions. I did talk to Kramer Lumber this afternoon. They have people waiting to sign purchase agreements on some of the lots. And so they are excited to get the final plat done and recorded so that they can go ahead with their purchase agreements.
All right. So the council can provide consideration approving the final plat for KL plat number 1 and authorizing the mayor and the city clerk to execute the mailer and require documents for completing the plat. Motion to approve?
So move.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Then, let's see here, we are on the deed, the 2025-2026 Stearns County Prosecution Service Contract. Is there any questions about that? Gary?
This is for renewal on our contract for prosecution services. We have been hanging out in the very similar ranges as far as what we are sending for numbers of prosecutable cases. The increase is more related to the cost of the attorneys to continue to do that work as opposed to us actually sending more work for them to do. So that's where the increase comes. Otherwise, as an office, we work very well with the Stearns County Attorney's Office, and the training that they provide also is valuable for our department. So just consideration of continuing our working relationship with them.
All right. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Special assessment for solid waste.
So I'll introduce Williamsons, are here this evening from West Central Sanitation, and they are a provider of our solid waste, residential solid waste service. As part of Minnesota statute 443.015, if folks are not paying their bills, there is the ability to assess for refuge services. We are a statutory city, so under that statute, we would assess. So there were letters that were sent out to the residents. I've been working with Don and Taylor the last couple days to look at all this, and they are here to visit with you a little bit about that tonight, and then we can talk about what the assessment role is gonna look like. Scott, do we have to do anything else from a public hearing? Okay. Sorry.
Mayor and City Council, Don Williamson, and thank you, Colleen, for introducing this subject matter. And we are the contract provider of solid waste and recycling services for the city of Melrose. Thank you for allowing us to do that for you. And Colleen did give you the right statutes and stuff, and it just has to do with certain size cities in the state of Minnesota over a certain size, and Melrose is big enough to comply. Have to provide solid waste services to every resident, and you do that by virtue of your contract, and you always have done that. So this is just a provision to assess those that do not pay for some reason, and with Colleen's help and your city office staff, We've been able to glean the list to those that we feel are valid. We're writing off quite a few as well, because maybe the residence has sold in the meantime and, or changed hands. We're not assessing anybody that is in the past. These would only be current owners, and since the time they owned it or dwelt there. If there's any questions about that. And do you have the list in front of you tonight?
They do not, it was a data privacy thing, but
Okay,
they have
so-
just a dollar amount.
And so there are 15. Colleen, does that sound right? 15?
Actually, nope, I think there's only 10, because
Okay.
there's an owner, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wait,
I
wait.
see what you mean.
1, 2, sorry, 3, wait a minute, sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There would be 10 properties that would be getting assessed. That wasn't the original list, so there's 10 properties that would be getting assessed, and then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 properties that would be getting written off. And the reason those are getting written off is because the garbage bill is from 2 or 3 owners ago. And, you know, we have an example of somebody who just moved in October 1st. They shouldn't be responsible to pay for a garbage bill from before. So in fairness to that, that's what is happening. Now, I probably will need a little clarification as far as the total special assessment amount, because I think my number might be slightly different than yours, so that's something we probably need to define. But I can tell you that the amount that's getting written off is over $3,000, so.
So at what point do we assess? Like, they have to be,
November 1st, they have until, West Central sent out a letter that stated they have to pay or make arrangements by November 1st.
right,
If they do not, it will go on their certified to the county, and I believe it is November 15th that all of our special assessments are required to be certified to the county. So they will just be certified along with all other special assessments. In addition to the assessment fee that you see here, they are also going to be charged a 10% administration fee to recoup some of the costs of our city staff having to work with West Central to get this done.
And their garbage quits?
What's that?
And their garbage services quit?
no,
Oh, okay.
they keep their garbage service, so.
Yeah, they can't legally, I think, what is it, once a month, or I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
there's a minimum service that the city has to comply to provide that
Okay.
service. That's why they allow the assessment, see?
Okay.
Yeah,
They don't want the
'cause
solid
you
waste
still
to
have
build
to
up and be a
provide the
nuisance.
service.
I know, that's what I was worried about.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
That's why it's kind of, it's too bad it has to be this way, but
Yeah.
it
Okay.
keeps you from having a nuisance being
So
created in the neighborhood.
what I was asking is, this is once a year?
Once a
This isn't
year.
gonna be like, hey, you didn't pay his bill last month.
Nope, so this actually, if we go back many, many years ago, when Herb Beckers had the service, Herb would come to the council meeting. My understanding is he would show up at the council meeting and kind of say, hey, I've got to put these people on. And it used to be that the county just took care of it, so he would work directly with the county. Well, since 2014, I believe it is, the county has not done that. When we had a different contractor, I'm not sure what they were doing. And, you know, technically, West Central's been great to work with us, but this is the first year they've come to us and asked if we could really look at this, because, you know, it's an expense for
Yeah,
them if
right.
people aren't paying their bills,
Right.
so.
Yeah.
Do people like stop service if like the home is for sale and they've moved out for that month? Like, does that go on to somebody's bill for
No,
just a
if
one
there's
month?
nobody there, and there's no services rendered, then that's not going on someone's bill.
But do they, like, since you have to have the service, can you still cancel it for just 1 month because you're moving?
I would say the answer is yes to that. Wouldn't you, Colleen? That
Mhm.
if they're moving and they're gonna be gone, we can cancel the service.
Okay,
There's nobody in the home,
right.
right?
Because as a city, it's required to have the garbage
But it's
service,
vacant. If it's vacant,
And you got your winter snowbirds, you know, so that
Yeah, but they
happens
work
every year.
stuff out with West Central as far as that
we don't
goes.
charge the snowbirds.
Yeah. It's just part of the game. So,
Do you guys ever think that, I get a few questions, because back when we had waste management, they did a yearly. So you paid it one time in the year and you didn't worry about a bill the whole entire year. Are you guys ever gonna look at doing something like that instead of this every 3 months? They just said it was so much easier because it was something that you knew that every year you budgeted for and you got there and you paid your, whatever, $300, and you didn't worry about a bill the whole rest of the year. I don't know if that's,
Yes, Taylor, if you want to go up to the podium, please.
Taylor's my son, and he's here, and he'd be more in tune on those billing policies than I would be.
Taylor Williamson, thank you. So the answer is yes. I mean, if someone wanted, the rates are set with the contract, there's no fluctuation. If someone wanted to pay a year, we'd be more than happy to say, here's the year, of course. Then they'd still get a quarterly statement that shows the credit on their account that they've paid ahead. When it comes to getting an annual bill, I'm currently looking at other software providers. Our software is from 2006, as some companies still run, and there's newer things out there, and the newer software might be able to better accommodate like an annual bill, one time, different, more sleek billing method. Currently, we're stuck into the quarterly thing, and the whole town is billed that way. But if someone wants to pay in advance, we can calculate it out, and they'll be done with it for a year.
okay, no, I can let them know that.
Thank you.
Is there any other questions?
Yeah, if they're here, if
Is
you
there
have
any
any other
other
questions,
coming
let them know.
Okay.
Just
Yeah, and thanks for the clarification, because, yeah, I know that was the only concern that I had is, you know, if you got somebody, 2 owners ago, I worry about that.
Right,
'Cause-
no, we worked with your city office to figure out when they were gone, when the new owner came in, so we didn't charge anybody that's not there now or an owner now.
Yep.
Okay?
Good.
And while we're here, if there's any concerns or other ones, let us know.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Perfect. All right. The action request is to certify assessments to the county on or before November 15th, 2024.
Correct. And the amount that, if I am not mistaken, and correct me if I'm wrong, please, you have 2 different ones here, so I'm not sure what it is, but it looks like it's gonna be, I'm not sure.
Well,
$1,422.71, is that correct? Okay, so the assessment will be, the total will be $1,422.71.
right, can I get a motion?
How does this look on when their tax thing comes? I know they always, like, you look up
You
somebody's
know,
taxes.
that is a
it says
really good
special
question.
assessment.
It just says special assessment, I
But
think.
could it be, like, is there an actual label that says
I
garbage special
mean,
assessment?
I could go to Painesville and
not like a
see.
street, we don't have, we don't ever really do a lot of special assessments.
Technically, assessment shows that, you'll get paid first before the county gets their money, so they would, right? Isn't that how it goes?
We don't get paid on that until the property tax gets paid.
Okay.
Yep.
I thought you get sort of,
Nope.
okay.
And
So-
if we don't pay the taxes, we don't get paid. And you won't get your 10% either.
So I could look, maybe. If you guys want to keep going, I can see if I can find something.
Yeah, no,
I make a motion.
It's fine, I was just kinda wondering if.
You know,
were
I
to-
can bring
If
something
you were to buy a
back.
property and all of a sudden they have a special assessment on it, well, what's that special assessment for? I mean, I guess you could probably call and find out, but.
So one of the things I do want, actually, that does bring up a good point, so thank you for bringing that up, Justin, because one of the things when they call us here at the city, we are able to provide them with their electric, their water, and wastewater. So when a title company calls to see if there's any special assessments, those are the 3, or any outstanding bills, those are the 3. What we are now doing is telling the title companies, and we're putting it right on that thing, saying, please check with West Central Sanitation, who's our solid waste provider, to see if there's any outstanding bills with them.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So,
Are you making a motion then?
I made a motion.
Okay,
Well,
first, then there's a second.
second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
thank you.
Part-time streets, parks, maintenance worker,
yay.
I'm excited.
Yes, so we actually are gonna be able to hire somebody.
Steve
Doris-
Kortenbush.
Yep, so what happened was Dorson, Andrew met him. Just give you Steve Kortenbush for part-time streets and parks maintenance worker at step 2 on the wage scale. that is who would be starting. His background is, he's retired from a school district where he worked. Yep, school maintenance for a number of years. So Mr. Kortenbush will be starting with us.
Yeah, and he has a good background and on everything, so that's a great person for that job. I'm really excited to see him come here.
Yes.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. All right, then there's the add-on item for fire department radios. Is there anything need to be said? It'll just be for,
They're expensive, I guess that should be said, but, they're, unfortunately, it's just like anything, everything's going up. I mean, we found that with the ambulance stuff as well. It seems kind of really ridiculous that you have to pay this much for these radios, but they need them, it's a necessity,
Yeah.
so.
and it's the old, it's like the first generation 500
Right.
megahertz radios that came out that they're replacing, isn't it?
Right, so they need to replace them, absolutely. They have their equipment budget is over 51,000. This is 19,550.55 is what they're requesting, and there's a 5-month lead time, so they will not be paying them until next year's budget, but they did want to get authorization to be able to order them.
Do they have old ones now, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah.
Are they, there's no
Trade-in?
trade-ins?
No.
And then.
No, because of
Are they
the-
still able to
Use them for training purposes or?
use them for something else? I mean, are they,
Or like drills?
or do they just stop,
I
like?
don't know.
From the models that Tom had talked to me about, they no longer make parts or batteries for them.
Yeah.
So anything that is still functioning is being used, and those would be the replacement.
Yep.
Ones that are being replaced.
And part of it is with a different channel, I believe, is part of it, and something with the county's new system.
There's some issues with the old ones that are Melrose as well as
Okay.
2,500 miles that they're replacing, were our original ones in 2008 when we switched to 800 megahertz. So
Okay.
Yeah.
thankfully, we've gotten beyond those, but the fire service has not been able to get.
All right?
I'll make a
Sorry,
motion.
I'll
sorry,
second.
800 megahertz. All right. There's a first and a second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. We're on old business, 406 Main Street East, demolition discussion.
Yes, so at the September 19th meeting, the council discussed 406 Main Street East and the demolition bids which had been received. Local resident Nate Hiltner came to the council with the idea of saving the building. And at last month's meeting, you granted him time to explore the idea. Since that time, Mr. Hiltner has entered into a purchase agreement with Mr. Scott Wehoff for the building. They are closing next week, Wednesday, on the 30th, on the real estate sale of that building. Demolition or cleanup of the interior has begun. You've seen the dumpsters on Main Street and in the back alley. Permits are expected for the roof repair very soon. He plans to submit those permits next week as soon as he holds title to the property. So the building will get a new roof, probably for sure by the second week of November. He has contracted with Arns and Construction for that roof. It is planned, and so through the winter, it is his plan to be working on the interior. MATA is entering into a development agreement with Mr. Hiltner for the project. This project now represents really the coming together of a lot of people. Mr. Hiltner had a vision for this. Mr. Wehoff has stepped forward and is contributing to the cost of the project. The Melrose Area Development Authority has come forward to support the project on the back end if needed. And the City Council obviously gave us some time to get this explored for a much better resolution than we were expecting. Just a result of many conversations and much discussion. So no action is requested by the City Council on this property any further. It's being taken care of.
Yes, but one thing I think we should let people know is it's still a work project. He's having a lot of people wandering in and out of the building while they're working, so I hope the citizens can respect the workers, because if something happens, it's gonna be on them. So please stay out of the building if the doors are open and they're, demoing out the inside of the building, so please be cautious. So, that's a good thing happening. All right, and then on the new business, notice of appointments, there is one member for planning and zoning. There is one member, one member for Housing Redevelopment Authority, and one Public Utilities Commission members that are up. And that will, you can apply for it till, let's see.
November 15th.
November 15th, and we're taking action on that, the first meeting in January. So that would be the new business on that one. Is there anything else on that? Okay. Meeting schedule. We have to certify the election. Huh?
Oh, go ahead. So staff is looking to schedule a special meeting to conduct a final review of the 2024 budget and capital improvement plan. We are recommending Thursday, November 21st at 5 PM. That is directly before the regular city council meeting. So that is one special meeting I would like the council to consider this evening. The other one is this council needs to schedule a meeting to canvass the results of the November 5th, 2024 general election. This must occur between November 8th and the 15th. Staff recommends Tuesday, November 12th at 5:15, immediately following the Public Utilities Commission meeting. I'm not saying this will happen, but in addition to canvassing the results, if we make any movement on union type of negotiations, I'm not saying it'll happen that soon, but if we do, the other thing I'd like to do is possibly hold, after we canvass the results, possibly hold that open also for more discussions about union stuff, if that works for you guys.
That's fine with me. Is there any questions or concerns? All right, and the reason why it's Tuesday is because it's Veterans Day on Monday.
Correct.
So,
Yep.
we'll move everything a day ahead. And see, the light audit.
So Missouri River Energy Services did a comprehensive lighting audit on all of our municipal buildings. The attachments were in your packet. Staff has not had an opportunity to meet and discuss these options in depth, but as staff, we are going to be meeting. We have a committee that's getting together to kind of talk about this, and we would like to bring back recommendations to the council in a future meeting. However, if there are any questions, concerns, or priorities that the council would like us to look at first, I would like your input just to let me know. I can tell you that one of the areas that probably should be looked at first is the fire department bay, where all the vehicles are.
Are they gonna be, is it a mandated change or just like an audit to tell you?
No, this is just an audit, and it's kind of telling you what the savings are. We did this you guys did this once before I was here, so it's been over 5 years. So it just was a good idea to have them come back and kind of look at it. Now, I will tell you that I think there's a way they can do it, in a way that's less expensive than what probably they're proposing, because I think our folks are able to maybe do some of that retrofitting themselves. So, but again, if you guys have any priorities or anything you really want us to look at, if you go downstairs, we can get you down there if you need to, but our mechanical room, as an example, has new LED lights. The hallway downstairs has new LED lights. So I think some of these might be, I'm not sure. But there's just, it's just one of those things. LED, I mean, T8s are going away, and it's just, that's old technology, and it's just,
It's coming down a lot in price as far as the LED
Oh, for
retrofit kits and
sure.
stuff. The only one I would say is, I know there's some in there that are the can lights.
Oh.
They look like just a typical can light, but they're permanent LED lights that have to have an electrician wire them in.
Mhm.
I'd rather have just a can socket put in and put a screw LED bulb in there, because I've seen a lot of problems with those. They burn out. Now you gotta get an electrician in just to change what should be just a light bulb, so, just an opinion. But
Okay.
no
That's a good
recommendation,
idea.
whatever, so.
Yeah, and
But a lot of
If-
these can be, I
Yeah,
mean, we're
retrofitted.
doing retros in all of our COs, and it's cheap. I mean, really, with
Yep.
having an electrician come in and do it, it's still not very expensive, so.
well, and I think, yeah, I
And
think,
it would be nice to see like the,
I think we
Not a
can talk
ton
to
of
a
investment,
local, any local electricians before we go out for
yeah, I definitely would not do that. I'd say just kind of,
so,
work with who we work with. Or what, you know, and again, if there's, I know staff wants to look at it and really figure out the priorities, and it's a safety thing. I will tell you that the back door here, we have it fobbed and we don't have a light, so that's probably gonna be one of the first priorities we have.
Well, I think I like at the fire department, I mean, those lights stay on, or some of them stay on, I guess, not all of them, but
A handful of them, yeah.
some of them do.
Yeah, we have
Right.
some right over our turnout gear that are always
Some
on,
the
because
safety
sometimes the
and
lights
stuff
don't
like
turn
that.
on when we're running in there.
Right,
Those would obviously be the priority, the ones that are staying on all the time, right?
right. But they make some, I mean, they make some nice round disc ones, and I think actually, Trav, you have some of them in your shed, but that you can actually wire them to plug in, so it would be something that we could switch out, kinda like Tony's idea with the screw and
Screw
bulb,
bulb rather than permanent.
so.
But how much of these, it's the utilities, because the utilities own these buildings.
Right, for sure. The utilities have talked about this as well. I just, again, because it's all municipal buildings,
Yep.
I just wanted to bring it to the council because obviously
Yep.
we split half and half as far as the cost of buildings go, so.
Good. All right, we're on
Yep.
D, it would be a TRICAP transport.
So
Transportation contract.
attached in your package is a yearly contract with TRICAP along with the ridership numbers. We have seen TRICAP increase every year. Years and years ago, you know, TRICAP was here, and it was not something that the city had taken over, and now, you know, now we're in charge of it. And you guys, when we put together our budgets and we talk about this, it has always been a priority to provide it. It's a necessary service for the community, and it's a cost of, you know, between $5,000 and $6,000 essentially. So I just, I would like you guys to consider approval of the TRICAP contract.
Questions?
Are there any other, you know, it mentioned subject area school district, but we haven't met with them. Is there any, are they contributing to it at all?
No,
Just
they
being-
have not contributed for a few years. I mean, it's been quite a while, actually. It's certainly something we can enter into an agreement or something with,
Yeah.
and certainly we can talk to them. I think it would be absolutely appropriate.
I think we should.
But it's more, you guys, if you want to continue to have the service, we
Well, it's
try
not that,
cap.
it's not that we don't wanna have the service. okay?
Right.
It's that everybody's participating in
Correct, yep,
providing.
and we
helping
certainly can
provide the
open those
service.
discussions for sure.
Because it's very easy to come to government and say, hey, we want this, let's pay
Right.
for it. Okay,
Right.
well, we'll just force everybody to pay for it then, so let's, you
Yeah.
know, people that are benefiting from it, let's just ask them if they'll contribute a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. I think that that is definitely something we can do.
The other ones that you have listed here have tokens, like Centricare and Coburn's, are those tokens from us that are?
They buy
placed
their own
there? Okay.
tokens.
Oh, they do.
Yeah,
All right,
so they buy the tokens so people at their
Right.
places can use them.
okay. Yeah, I
The
think-
tokens are very much separate from the contract and there is zero revenue. So, you know, we
Oh.
purchase tokens here, right, and they're like, I think they're $2 and $1, depending on if you're youth or if you're an adult, and then depending on if you're in town or out of town, so. So the
Well, that's-
actual, contract is the 5,300.
Yeah, the tokens are bought from TRICAP to ride the bus, so
Yep,
it's revenue to TRICAP, so I'm just saying there is some revenue going toward it from everybody that's buying tokens,
right.
so.
And we have quite a few, so I think we have some to last us quite a while. We don't go through them like we used to. They must be getting them from Centricare and Coburn's a lot more.
Can I get a motion to approve?
So move.
Second?
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Informational items, utility commission meeting minutes, and schools and conferences. Is there any questions?
My turn may be out on FMLA.
No, what?
I have a reminder I'm gonna
Yep.
be on FMLA.
Yeah, and, we'll say that. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion's carried.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.
All right, meeting is adjourned.